The Florida Gators have landed a commitment in three-star defensive lineman in the 2025 class, Jeramiah McCloud. So you know what that means. We got the shades on. It's a bonus episode of Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. And if you're joining us live, I see some people are in the chat already. Please do just go ahead. Give me a chomp in the chat. That's all I want. I just want to chomp in the chat. That's it. That's all I need here. That's all I need from you. If you want to like, subscribe, do whatever, then go ahead. Happy Thursday afternoon. It's a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Always a beautiful day when the Florida Gators add to their recruiting class. I am Brandon Olsen, the host of Locked On Gators. And the Florida Gators added Jeramiah McCloud, who we've kind of heard little murmurs that the commitment would be coming at some point. I got mildly spoiled the other day, and then now that they brought it back, yes, Phoenix, yes, hit that like button too. It's a great day to be a Florida Gator, just saying. But Jeramiah McCloud is someone that I understand, a 3-star. There's a lot of people who are going to be very skeptical of it. I don't give a damn. We're just at this point where, it's May 2nd at this point. You're adding someone to your recruiting class before his senior season. There's a pretty good chance that he's going to improve at some point along the way. One thing I like about Jeramiah McCloud is that he lines up all over the defensive line, which outside of nose tackle is something that this coaching staff looks for in their defensive linemen. You look at Kelby Collins can play that 3 tech, the big end, and the F spot out wide, the strong side. You look at Joey Slackman coming in from the transfer portal. He can play kind of 3 spots on the defensive line with both defensive end spots and a little bit if you want to go with a light nose tackle there. He can handle that. Caleb Banks, nose tackle, 3 tech, not going to play much F. You look at the spring game, and TJ Searcy, LJ McCray would be on the field at the same time. One of them standing up, one's got a hand in the dirt. They vary. You need to have positional versatility and alignment versatility in this defense, and that's exactly what Jeramiah McCloud gives you. Again, outside of nose tackle, because Cam Jackson, Des Watson, no one's asking them to play 3 tech. But outside of nose tackle, you need to be positionally and alignment versatile. What's up, Josh Gardner from Spain in here? What's up? How you doing, buddy? As always, we'll get to the chat just if I see something and it pops, it pops. But Jeramiah McCloud, 6'3", 280 pounds. Before getting into a strength and conditioning program at Florida, which right now at 6'3", 280, that's really close to a lot of Florida Gators edge guys, whether they're playing the F or the jack spot, which again, pretty versatile right now. And it can go kind of 2 ways, right? He can lose weight or lose some fat, gain some muscle, and then if he's still around 280, he'll be an edge. He'll play the jack or the F. But I do think that Jeramiah McCloud is someone that we ultimately see play a mixture of that F, that strong side edge spot, strong side defensive end spot, and the 3 technique on the interior. Just if you watch his film, which, by the way, 12 sacks in 2023. I'm just saying 12 sacks is pretty damn productive for an interior pass rusher. But if you watch his film, he played a lot of that defensive end and defensive tackle spots. He played a little bit of nose, but I don't think that that's going to be something he's going to be asked to do at the college level, let alone at the SEC level. I just don't think that that's something that suits him. I do think he's someone that's better suited to be used like a Kelby Collins or Tyreek Sapp type, where you can play on the interior, but you can also play as that strong side edge. Because when you're playing that strong side edge, usually on the opposite side of the line is where the jack, the lighter pass rusher is. So you got to be able to hold water and rush the passer. And I think that Jeramiah McCloud can kind of benefit from being trained to do that. But you look at what he did in high school, and when you watch his high school film, if you have I think it's like 6 minutes or 6.5 minutes. You watch his high school film, and a lot of his production comes from just winning with his first step. He's a pretty strong first rep, pretty quick first step for a defensive lineman, especially on the interior. Like, again, you watch the film, and a lot of his wins, a lot of his sacks come from just beating the offensive lineman. Like, he sees the ball move and he's gone. And so he's got that quick first step that you're looking for, where you can be a bit of a gap shooter. You just got to work on some refinement, because it's obviously not going to be as easy to do that at the college level. But winning that way gives you like that's a trait that people look for, having that first step. And that's the approach that this coaching staff has taken with recruiting, is finding guys that have traits that you can't teach, because it's really tough to teach someone to have a first step, just the explosiveness there, but also just being comfortable timing a snap like that, or watching the snap and moving immediately. It's not super easy to teach. So they find guys that have these traits, and they kind of just go, hey, we'll coach the rest of it. Like, we'll coach the things that are easier to coach, but we want traits that you can't really coach. And so this is Gerald Chapman. If I'm not mistaken, Gerald Chapman's first commitment from high school. I don't believe he was listed as someone with Jalen Wiggins. I think that was more Mike Peterson. So I think this is Gerald Chapman's first commitment out of high school. But, I mean, you look at the offer list, too, because I know people see 3-star and they go, ooh, 3-star. But you look at his offer list, LSU, he was formerly committed to Mississippi State, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida State, Georgia, Maryland, Miami, Tennessee, USC, a bunch of schools in between, even like Illinois, who just had a first-round defensive lineman drafted. There's a lot, or actually, he might have just been the very tail end of the first or beginning of the second. He had medical issues. But it's his offer list is a ton of SEC programs, ACC, Big Ten, and the ACC programs are like Florida State, who just won the ACC. So it's not like, we're looking at just bottom feeders here. This is a commit that was highly sought after. I don't care what the recruiting sites have his ranking as. I look at the guys that get paid millions of dollars, and their roster helps decide their future. And, well, I'm going to take their opinion. I'm going to take their opinion, the guys that actually have to do this for a job. And like, we see so many 3-stars work out, 5-stars flame out immediately, or just never really pan out at all. And, well, yeah, I'm going to take the coaching staff. I'm going to take their opinion over the opinion of a recruiting site. So I'm going to say, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything you want, put it in the chat. We will get to it in the second half of this bonus episode, this bonus live stream. But first, a quick word from a couple sponsors. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets to tip-off, so you can get killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, which is one of my favorite things about Game Time, because I cannot freaking stand. Like, when I'm putting together plans with people, and I'm like, hey, tickets cost $80, and everyone's like, cool, that's great, that's perfect. Like, I didn't want to spend more than that. And then I go to the purchase process, and it's like, actually, tickets are $102 per person. And then things get dicey and annoying. And I like that with Game Time, not an issue. They just tell you, like, hey, this is $80. And it's $80. Like it's as simple as that. So I love that. You can see the views from your seat, make sure there's nothing obstructing your view, and their lowest price guarantee. Yeah, lowest price guarantee. So if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So if you find tickets for, I don't know, $10 cheap, then they'll give you $10 cheaper, they'll give you $11. It's a beautiful thing. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is also brought to you by Monopoly Go, which we do have to pause here for a second, and I get what you're saying. Flag on the play. You've talked about Monopoly Go before. You do it a lot. They're a sponsor that's here almost daily at this point, but there's just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with your friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock, and there's so much to get. unique stickers that you can trade with friends to complete albums for even bigger prizes. Little prizes become bigger prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the board with. You can go to New York, New Orleans, Camelot, everywhere you want. Plus, Monopoly Go just feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. And there's always new timed events to help you win big prizes like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. And there's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now free on Google Play or on the App Store. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day, or your second listen, because this is the second episode of Locked On Gators. So if you want to listen to the first one, if you haven't yet, go ahead and do that. But Jeramiah McCloud has committed to the Florida Gators, and I'm just going to look through the chat as always here. Been waiting on this one. Yeah, like we said, like it's been rumored and it got spoiled a little bit, which is one of the reasons I didn't really talk about it. I hate spoiling. I can't stand spoiling a kid's commitment. That's like one of the last few times people really care about what you're doing. And so I hate when people do that. This has to mean that Billy's not going anywhere because these kids aren't going to commit without having some type of assurance, at least in my opinion. I don't think so. I don't think that's what it means. I think that it just means these kids believe that Billy Napier will do what it takes to keep his job for 2025. And I think it's having faith in that. Beck said his offer list is rather impressive. Yeah, great get. I mean, absolutely great offer list. If I remember right, Shane Matthews was a 3-star recruit. Yep, don't sleep on 3 stars at all. Hell, hey, friend of the show, Hayden Hansen, is a 3-star recruit. And, well, he was a starter in the SEC in his second year and a pretty quality one at that. I appreciate the subtext. Hey, Tony. Yeah, if you're not part of the subtext and you want to, the link's in the description below. Go to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnGators. It's 2 weeks free, $5 a month after that. We've been doing 2 days or 2 reports a day from the spring game, just evaluating players there. Click that for a middling 3-star as our 4th commit this cycle. LOL. Okay. Ricky was the 3-star. Yep. Okay. Great get. What receiver should we get next, or should be next? I would assume Kobe Howard if Florida's going to get a 2025 receiver soon. To me, I'm going to say Kobe Howard. I don't know what we're going to call it on Locked On Gators, but I put it to the subtext like a week or 2 ago, where I was just like, hey, I know that 24/7 has their crystal balls and Steve Wilfong has Wilt bombs or Fong bombs, whatever. On3 has their recruiting prediction machine. I don't know what we're calling it, but Kobe Howard for me, Florida Gator. So that's where I land. But I will also say it's still very early in the cycle. Like someone mentioned, like 4th commit of this cycle. Technically 5th commit this cycle, but there was a decommit. So boom, in your face. Just saying. But this is like May, June, July is typically when Florida strings together their successes. Like sprinkling in May, decent bit in June, couple in July, and then it's like, all right, in the season, we're in the season. So that's what they do. Like, and then like every team, you know, they lose a couple commits, they gain a couple commits before signing day happens, which is fine. Like I don't get worked up over commits because, again, I mean, it's so volatile. It's like the NFL draft. You're just throwing darts at a board, except it's even more volatile with recruiting classes. For me, though, I will say that the remainder of this class, I need to see a bit of, or if I had a say in this, there would be a bit of prioritization on 2 positions. 1, tight end. I need more tight ends on this roster because you just look at who's there. Keon Zipper is going to be gone after this year. You have Hayden Hansen and Arliss Boardingham are draft eligible after this year. Not that they're going, but after next year, they would likely be gone if they come back. So you have that. You have Gavin Hill just moved from defensive line to tight end. You have Tony Livingston coming back for year 2 now, where he will hopefully be an impact player for the Florida Gators. But again, he's going to be a rotational tight end. You have Caleb Rillos from Air Force, has to like redshirt this year for some DOD thing. And then next year he'll be able to play. But I'm looking at, when I look at a 2025 tight end, I go, okay, I don't want you contributing until 2026. So right now, Amir Jackson, like 2024 tight end, I don't think he contributes until 2025. Like he'll play here and there, but he's not going to be a contributor until 2025. So I'm looking at, you need a 2025 tight end because I'm looking at 2026 and beyond, and you don't have many people that are still going to be here. So that's why I'm like, all right, 2025, you need to add a tight end or two. And then cornerback is another one where cornerback, you've sprinkled in guys here and there. Like you got Jeremiah Grimsley and Teddy Foster for this year. The year before you had Jakeem Jackson, Dijon Johnson's out there, Sharif Denson's in at star, Aaron Gates is at star. So I think that you have to add to your corner room. Those are the positions that I'm going to really focus on for recruiting if I'm this staff. Receivers, you have a lot of young guys. You need to just continue stacking talent at that position with how much turnover there is. Offensive line, obviously, needs to be a priority. It's always going to be a priority. You're a Billy Napier coaching staff. You should be prioritizing the offensive line. Defensive line, you need more depth. Linebackers, you need more depth. Safeties, you need more depth. Like every position, you need more depth. Every year, you're trying to basically build a roster with your recruiting class. You want, a QB at least, a couple running backs, 3 or 4 receivers, few offensive linemen, few defensive linemen, linebackers, second. Like you need everything, but you have to prioritize certain things. And I think after you've added Jeramiah McCloud, you've got 2 guys on the defensive line. I'm counting Jalen Wiggins as a defensive lineman. I understand he's listed as an edge. It's the same front 4. Like they're all down there. So defensive line. So yeah, I think that you're going to add probably 2 more and a nose tackle somewhere in there. But tight end, corner need to be prioritized here. And again, this is one of those things where I understand he's a 3-star defensive lineman. A lot of people aren't going to be excited for that. I don't give a damn what your ranking is. The people who get paid millions, guys who won 2 of the last 3 national championships at Georgia, are recruiting you. I'm going to say you're a pretty talented football player compared to what any recruiting site says. I don't really give a damn about the recruiting side at that point. But thank you so much for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We'll be back tomorrow twice. We're going to have our normal show come out in the morning, and then in the late morning, early afternoon, Locked On Canes, where we're getting our first crossover of the year there. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk a bit, see how that goes, look at the game that's going to happen August 31st that the Florida Gators will likely win, I'm going to say. But thank you so much for tuning in for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants Country and NFL 33, and I will see you all next time.